Hello, strong, beautiful, confident woman of God. Yes, I am talking to you. Welcome to the Purpose After Domestic Violence podcast, where getting freedom from the effects of domestic violence meets empowerment to walk in the fullness of your God-designed purpose. I am your host, Tina. I am an attorney, an author and speaker, and a Christian life purpose coach. I will be your guide here, helping you on your journey from overcoming victimhood and just simply surviving to stepping into the victorious life God has waiting just for you. As we travel this road together, Purpose After Domestic Violence is not just a podcast. It's a sacred space where the shackles of domestic violence are broken and empowerment takes root, grows, and flourishes. Here, we are not just surviving, we're thriving in the fullness of our God-designed purpose. I have personally walked the path from victimhood to victory, and I'm here to guide you through it. Picture me as your big sister, holding your hand, sharing wisdom and revelation, and helping you navigate the twists and turns of this path towards healing, freedom, and empowerment. Whether you're on the path to victory or seeking a guiding light in the storm, Purpose After Domestic Violence is here for you. Together, we'll illuminate the path forward to a life filled with purpose. Welcome, my sweet sister, to the Purpose After Domestic Violence podcast. Okay, today I am so thankful to have a special guest on the podcast today. She is a strong, beautiful, confident woman of God, and she has an amazing story and testimony, and she is doing fabulous things for the kingdom. So I wanted to bring her on. Say hi.
Hello. Okay, so thank you so much, Tina, for having me on this podcast. Hello, everyone.
I'm so excited to have you here. Okay, so we are wrapping up Women's History Month. So I just wanted to ask you real quick, and when we think of women's history, we think of all the historical women, the women in the public eye that have made significant advancements for women, but you have some very special women in your life that you want to give a shout out to, right? Tell us about
I
that.
do. I do. So I would say my grandma, both of them actually, but the one that I knew as well, my mum and my daughter. My mum and my daughter are just the two most important ladies in my life. My mum is no longer with us. Um, and yeah,
And
they're incredible.
your daughter recently got married, right?
She did. She
Yeah.
did. That was absolutely amazing and on so many levels.
Yeah.
Life
Yeah.
stuff, just reaching that point. I'm beaming, it's those little good limit, those little
Yeah.
good things you get in life. It's
That's,
not little, it's massive, but it's
yeah.
just, yeah, it's incredible. God is so good.
Yeah.
So grateful.
And we talked right after, I think, your wedding. I think we had one of our calls and you were just, oh my gosh, you were so excited. It was such a blessing, like you said, on so many different levels, right? And it was
Mm,
one of the things that made it so special is you did come out of an abusive marriage. And it was really
relationship.
the thing that finally opened your eyes, I guess, right? To make the decision to leave was your daughter.
Absolutely. She was
Yeah,
my strength. She was the reason of it, for everything,
yeah,
there's something about being a mom, and this is not about those who aren't. There's just
right.
something in that that's just, I don't know, let me speak for myself. Something about being a mum to her that changed me in such a profound way that nothing was going to stop me, for doing the best for her.
Yeah, yeah,
And so seeing her get married, it was just an amazing kind of full circle moment when I think
right.
of the experiences during the pregnancy, that the fact she came here, she made it, even being abused literally throughout the pregnancy.
Mhm.
And she got here. And then after all those years, a good 3 decades later, walking her down the aisle, actually, which was another amazing thing. It was just wonderful because, when you're in that, when you're going through it, it can seem like that's it. And I remember back then, just, it was gloomy.
Right,
It
right.
was gloomy. And so, like fast forward looking back like, wow, isn't God good? Like, look at
Yes.
this.
Yes.
We made it. We did
Yeah.
it.
So that was not the end of your story, right?
No, no. And
Right.
exactly. Yeah, it's not. And that's the point. It's like wherever we are, it's even said in the Bible, like our latter days will be better than our former days.
Yes.
Simple. So it's just like looking ahead. And that's what's kept me going in life, just knowing that it's going to be better. It has to be.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah,
It has to be. Yes.
has to be. There's like, he said it, God said it. So it has to. There's just no other way.
Right. 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 I love that. I love that. And I love that you had that such a special moment with your daughter walking her down the aisle and just the full
We
circle.
were
It was all worth
crying.
it. It was all worth
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah. We were beaming, we were crying, we were sashaying like little supermodels. We were doing all of it because and she held my hand so tightly. I was trying to
Oh,
keep it together because it was filmed, and the fact that she asked me, knowing, because of everything, who else but to walk her down.
right, right.
Who else? Because
Oh,
I was, it was deep, many levels deep.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so it was a blessing. Even the fact that, we get on. It
yes,
could, just so many ways it could have gone. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm getting
yeah,
emotional. It was special. It really, and I'm so grateful.
yeah,
So
yeah.
grateful to God.
So yes, yes, God is amazing. All right.
Amazing.
So my audience knows that I'm an attorney, right? And you're an attorney
Right.
too, right?
Absolutely.
So I want to say something. I have a shirt that I got in college that says legal rock star on it. And it's
Oh,
and it's funny because I always think of you, Danelle, and I think like you're a rock star. And then we met on a business coaching female entrepreneur association, right? So
right.
that's how we met. So on that group, I see Danelle posting things about her musical days. And I thought, oh my gosh, she is literally a rock star.
I remember when you posted that, you're like, you're actually a rock star. Like literally. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell us just a little bit about that season in your life, about your music
Yeah.
career, where that
Yeah.
was, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
sure. So, it's that whole God works in mysterious ways. Ironically, the irony is that I always wanted to be a lawyer. And so literally from my early like 8, 9, I remember making the decision. And that was where my head was. Truly academic, bookworm, don't care about the outside world. I've got my head down. Literally, it was church, school, and home. That was my life. And and I was obsessed with this path. And then sometime I learned how to sing in church. I was in the choir. It was all gospel, Pentecostal, the whole kind of soulful celebrations of God, soulful worship, shall we say.
That's
And
kind.
that was where, yeah, so that's where I had my kind of spiritual musical background. And I ended up getting signed from an episode of singing in school. I won't go into it, but I ended up getting signed as a teenager. And the next thing you know, I'm in the secular world of music, which was horrific for my parents. And it was a very weird time because I'm a church girl. That's what I was growing up, But at some point I turned away and fell into the music world. And that's what happened. So that's how I entered into that and was able to understand contracts, intellectual property from a very young age, inking my own deals. But I got a really good deal. The point is, none of that really impressed me. I only ever wanted to be a lawyer. So this is the thing.
Yeah.
It's impressive from the outside and people are like, oh my gosh, dream come true. Because it's not even like, literally I was signed and then I was out there making money immediately. And for me, it was great as independence. I was able to get my way out of the home, which had become, things hadn't, turned a bit in at home. So for me, it was my pathway out. I had my own money, pathway out. All that time, I was never really happy about it. I only wanted to do law. So that's the long and short of it. So you can imagine all those years. And then my daughter came along a few years later. And like I say, she saved me in a sense of just just knowing that I had to do well for her. I was doing well in the industry. But anyway, I left the deals, set up my own music label, record label, publishing company, and started doing it myself. Because one of my things is as a humanitarian and caring about people. That's
Yeah.
one of the big things that me and my labels clashed with, because I wanted to do good. They wanted to be singing all these songs that I wrote, these lovey-dovey songs and things that are not really church-like, shall we say. Weren't terrible, but I mean, I'm very, I was raised in a certain way.
Right.
So it wasn't, the point is that they weren't for that. They weren't for the do-gooder, which is what they told me, and I thought, no, I can do this. So I basically left, started again from scratch. My daughter was a little baby and made it work. So I made a really good success of that. I was able to really make a positive difference with, in the world, literally, advocating for human rights and various things. For me, it was a blessing in that way. And, work with, the London mayor, work with the governor of Georgia, just do projects that really could make a positive difference in people's lives. So it's my way of kind of doing the law without doing the law, right?
Right. Right.
And all that time I kept
Yeah.
studying. So
Yeah.
it was a very alternative route, but fast forward a good many decades later, I gave it all up for my dream to go and really finish my legal studies. Went to UK law school, US law school, did a Master of Laws, Master of Legal Science, Master of Science in Legal Studies. I really went all in, worked at law firms in the US, started as a paralegal while I was studying. I went all in.
Yeah.
And it's actually 10 years ago, by the way, I figured out that it's kind of started the whole transition. Like, I'm going to do it. I gave up everything to do it. So this is the dream now. Here I am running my law firm, and it's 2 years old, in its third year, the beginning of its third year. And literally everything I envisaged is happening. And I'm so grateful to God for that. So that's it. I hope that answers your question, but it was like,
no, that was so good. That was so amazing. So you were in the music industry and didn't really like what you were seeing. So you started your own business, right? And then you finally circled back to fulfilling your dream and got your law degree and you worked at law firms, right? But then you decided maybe you didn't like what you were seeing. And so you started your own law firm. Right?
Well, kind of. I actually always knew I was going to run my own law firm all the time. So it was more that doing it to, like, as a business person who'd been in business for decades.
Yeah.
Because I've been running businesses, not just music businesses, by the way. We won't get into that, but I've run many businesses successfully from scratch. And I did that because of my daughter. So I would put it all, she's my motivation, even before then, but yes. And actually, I always knew I was going to. So while I'm working at these firms and these lawyers, they love these are amazing law firms, learn from the best in different, areas of law. And we get talking. It's like, so what do you want to do? We love your work, da, da, da. And I'm like, I'm actually going to run my own law firm someday. And they literally, some of them scoffed, like, oh, well, not scoffed in a bad way, but because they were traditionalists. And I was like, well, I'm going to set up a virtual law firm one day. And at that time, it was like, what are you talking about? Crazy woman. We think you're smart and intelligent, but there must be something wrong with you. Because I got that kind of like, well, dear, okay, good luck. Kind of like, poor thing. She really is deluded. And I was like, you don't really know that side of it. They only knew this side that was just hardworking, get the job done, really efficient, really resilient, really smart. They didn't even know that I'd run businesses, that I was actually a musician. Only a couple of them found out because someone did a search, one of the legal assistants, and they were like, oh my God. It's like things like that. But yeah, so I actually knew going in that I was going to run my own law firm. I'm an entrepreneur at heart,
Right.
So I've had businesses literally since I was 8, 9. I started young. So I'm an entrepreneur at heart. That's the one. Yeah. So
that's funny. So you were talking about them kind of scoffing at you when you were telling them, your dream and your plans. I feel like as Christian women, when we vocalize these massive God dreams, people scoff at us, don't they?
Listen, story of my life. I've been scoffed at since I was a child. But the funny thing, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say anything about like comparative to the Bible, but I knew the Bible inside out. And I used to, my mum and dad, when we used to talk about biblical stories, there's things like Joseph and the dreams he had, and look what his brothers did. It's like just par for the course. It's what it is. So I knew that those dreams were valid.
Yes.
I wasn't trying to harm anyone. I actually wanted to help. My whole point was speak up for those who cannot, justice for those, for the voice for the voiceless. That was literally my thing, my whole thing. When I was like 8, 9, I joined the debate team because I was painfully shy. We won't get into that, but I realized what my strengths, weakness, opportunities, spread, that kind of thing. And I realized to be able to become a lawyer, I needed to be able to speak up,
Mhm.
like in public, just things like that. And
Right.
so with that speaking up and learning how to, people were just like, yeah, God-sized dreams. It's what it was. And I love the way you frame it. And it wasn't necessarily received in that way. It was like, she's got ideas above her station. I don't know if that's said over here,
Right. Yeah, that
but
makes sense.
it's like, and it wasn't braggy. It was just statement because I knew.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know who God says I am. And so
Right.
if
Right.
I'm that honest or outspoken that it wasn't saying it in a I'm going to do this and you're not good. I always see
Right.
the greatness in everyone. If
Right.
it's not
Right.
like I'm better than. It was more that I knew who I was and I knew what was happening and what was going to happen. If I had a vision given, if I know that I could, it wasn't even in my household that
Right.
a lawyer, that wasn't even like a thing that was even a thing. I literally just knew. And so it wasn't like, I had it around me to watch and learn from. I just knew who I was. I just knew there was
Yeah.
something in me. And I knew that I was capable of anything because God said so. That's all I
Right.
knew.
Right. Right. And I love
You
that. I
know?
love that about you because you like exude confidence in your identity as a daughter of the king. And that's what it is. This confidence is not, like you said, it's not bragging, it's not arrogant. It's no, I know who I am. I'm a daughter of the king.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
when we can go into the world just knowing that, I mean, we're unstoppable.
Exactly. But then things come and then they try to stop you, right? So this is the
Yes.
thing. And that's, our connection, even finding out that we've both been in abusive relationships was incredible because we already had that. We're lawyers in this business group. And then we find out that, oh my gosh, because I knew there was something about you. I didn't know what. And then the next thing I know, when we get to know each other, it's like, oh my gosh, she's actually been there too.
Yeah.
So things like that come for you, even if you've
Yeah.
got that resolute, and even if you don't. But for me, it was, I knew I was fundamentally, but then
Right.
those things happened, and don't get me wrong, they affected, but deep down, the resolution was there that, yeah, I'm a child of God. Like
Yeah.
what you say is not true. I've
Right.
always, another great thing that I love about my parents is I learned from them and from the Bible, to be honest. It's not what humans and mankind says. It doesn't matter. They
Right.
can say whatever, you can't rely on that. You can rely on God's word and you can rely on who God says you are.
Yeah.
So if you want to say that I'm this and I'm that and it's not possible, good for you. That's not my truth.
Right.
So
Right. Not my truth.
God's
No,
truth
I
is
love it.
different. God's truth for me is anything. And I mean that, like, and I
Yeah.
can testify that for what I've been through and it's just beginning. If
Right.
I can do what I've done and, it's like 3 law degrees in 5 years
Yeah.
and even, again, I won't go into too much, but it's a lot. And the point is, it's like, because, and I say a lot in a sense of, I knew it was more than possible. I felt it because
Uh,
that's just my fundamental value of what's
yeah.
possible. Anything is, it's more like I can, I will, I am, I'm doing this. This has
Right.
happened. So for
Right.
me, it's about catching up with the vision rather than thinking, oh, it might not, whatever. No, it's like it's happened, it's done. It's just about catching up with the vision in reality, right?
Right. 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 Okay. So I just have to say this real quick. So this business group we're in, okay, it is not a Christian business group. Okay.
No,
Wonderful, wonderful women. So good. It
absolutely.
is not Christian. So just like when Danelle and I met on a networking call, right?
Yeah.
And literally it's still the only networking call I went to because it was like 4:30 in the morning for me.
I remember that. You were the only one that was earlier than me because normally I'm the one that's up at 5
Yeah,
at these
yeah,
calls. And that
yeah.
was another reason I was like, oh,
Yeah. So not only, you know, we're both lawyers, we both studied under new law business model. So we do estate planning the same way. And not only were we both in domestic violence situations, but we were both Christian and like on fire, Holy Spirit filled Christian women. And it's like, I think we were both supposed to be on the networking call so we could meet. And now, months later, quite a few months now, right? And now we're accountability partners. And just every time that we talk, I just love my time with you. I just love it.
Oh,
I just love it. So I really do think that you are one of the strongest, most beautiful, confident women of God that I know. And I'm
thank
honored
you.
to share life and business with you, even if it is every other week. And one of these, I
Yeah.
will visit you. But
Yes.
but tell us what you're doing. Tell us about your law firm and what you offer.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So it's the core of it is helping entrepreneurs to correctly set up, confidently build and maintain their business and proactively protect, their business, their assets, their loved ones,
Right.
and really just be solidly empowered. I think I made that part up, solidly empowered. To
Mhm.
be empowered, empowerment is so important to me.
Yes. Yes.
Um, maybe because it's my background and having to, all these get through all the things, right? But essentially it's about helping people really be set up. So I come from a holistic perspective. I it's more about just making sure on their terms, just looking at their life, what they want and helping them attain that and protect it, build legacies, but really protect it. And because you and I, we have the same understanding, similar understanding of what that protection is, and not a lot of either estate planning. I won't say estate planning attorneys. I'm not going to speak for the whole industry, but traditionally,
Right.
um, and we're not traditional. So traditionally, there's been a way of doing that, and it's more like deep-rooted, deep-seated protection. So there's that side of it. So there's estate planning, there's business from pre-start all the way through to exit, succession planning, and we also help with intellectual properties, the trademarks, copyrights, trade secrets, internet law, and we've recently been expanding. So we're doing other areas now, helping doing Chapter 7 bankruptcies, um, and moving into some consumer law areas as well. So
Yeah.
that's a nice new recent development, which is why you and I haven't been in touch as much. Well, one of the
Yes.
reasons, because I
Yes.
know we've got your wonderful developments happening as well. But
Yes.
so it's really nice and just a really exciting time for me and my law firm. Really, really, I'm kind of holding on to my seat, but also knowing that this is what I prayed for and it's happening because so
Right.
it's an interesting time. Just it's exciting. Things are rapidly growing, and I am just thankful and excited and like woo at the same time. It's
Yeah.
great.
Oh my gosh. That's so awesome. So what I heard from you is not only are you an entrepreneur at heart, right? But you actually serve other entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I love
You
that.
know, what's interesting? It's like, even in business circles, one of the things is like that I find at least I found with my own success in business, was the moment I got real about who I was and was able to articulate that, especially in the music. When the internet began, that was when, like literally, when it became like MySpace and all of those social media ways of promoting yourself. And that's literally devising a way to succeed, which is what I literally had to do, like as it happened. Um, I realized very quickly that the more authentic you are, like when you're actually being who you are, or even if you're speaking about how you did it, coming from your perspective, there's no one else that can do that more than you. Because, like if you've, so it's like caring about, look, I've managed to do it. If I can do it, you can. If I manage to do it with no money, you can. And so that was like me doing my own thing. And then when I wrote the book, the blueprint, knowing that, oh my gosh, I want to help entrepreneurs, like, because you
Yeah.
see entrepreneurs that are struggling and just need a bit of help and guidance. So I have my time, with my other business, mentoring, business consultant, all of that, even before becoming a lawyer. So my thing is I'm passionate about entrepreneurship because it's one way to become really, truly independent and free. And because of course, it's my fundamental way of being. It's not everybody's. I'm
Right.
passionate about helping those that weren't entrepreneurs necessarily naturally, showing them how. And I'm passionate about helping people that just have that natural, there's something they really want to do,
Yeah.
burning desire, and, it's awesome to work with people for the kingdom as well. That's even better because it's, well, I say even better, it's not like it's better or worse. But I mean, it's so nice because, you know, they've got a desire, they may not know how to do it. So to be able to do that for them, help them with the law, help
Yeah.
them make sure the legalities are intact, because that's one key part, as you know, that you can't avoid and ignore, even though a lot of people try to.
Right.
Eventually it will come back, and hopefully not, but it
Right.
can take you down. It can destroy
Right.
everything you built. So
Right.
for me, it's like helping them understand that you have to integrate that in the foundations from the
Right.
start as much as
Right.
possible.
Right.
That's nice. And, you know, so yeah, it is about really helping entrepreneurs to really, really be empowered
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
proactive standpoint, not from a reactive standpoint. That's my
Right.
aim.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so good. So good. Ah, I was going to say
Yeah.
something. Hmm. Okay. So, oh, you mentioned a book, right? You've got a book out there on Amazon too, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah, so it was, I mean, it was released in 2018 now. I wrote it as I was I had like a 6 month gap before I started my LLM, a Master of Laws business. And I was twiddling my thumbs, which I don't do. And I was like, I need to do something. And I knew I had all this stuff I needed to get out, get out of my head, download, because it, again, I was at that time, I was doing a lot of business mentoring and coaching, consulting. And yes, so I wrote the book. I wrote it in. Anyway, you didn't ask what I'm going to say, but
Yeah.
I wrote it very quickly.
All right. And
Um,
so what's it called?
yeah, it's called Music and Money. And it was written specifically for female creatives, just because, again, that's who I am and who I was. And I really wanted to demonstrate that it's possible and just show my blueprint and just talk a little bit about my background, and so they can understand that instead of that, the other aim as well behind it, one of the motivations was I'm not one for the victim mentality and the
Right.
mindset. So it was really important for me to be, because I was tired of it. You hear it a lot in the artist world, artists are meant to be broke, they're meant to be poor. And I respect opinions, I do, but personally, I've never been that person to hear what's supposed to be true, especially when it's negative. I don't have time for that. It's just never computed since I was a child. That gets on people's nerves, of course, but because I know who I am.
Yeah.
If that a human can say it's the fact, but it doesn't mean it's fact for me. So
Right.
just going back to that. So that's always been my way, which is why I found a way, because I was determined to make it work. I have a daughter. We've left an abusive relationship. I left the music industry. Another reason I left, by the way, was because I didn't want to get found, because I was pretty prominent and out there in the world that I was in. So again, I literally was like, how can I make this work? I've got a daughter, and it was propelled, my way was her.
Right.
And it was like, I have to figure this out. So basically, the book kind of, it doesn't talk about me, it just talks about the business blueprint, but kind of giving examples of, so people can know that I do relate, I can relate, not having the funds in the physical sense, they're not seeing
Right.
the zeros, seeing the minuses, being there, just so it's not like, oh, she just succeeds all the time. It's all good for her. I've had people tell me that all the time. And I'm like, if you only knew, oh my
Right.
gosh,
Right.
just to reframe, I just choose not to let that bring me down. I choose to make it propel me. I
Right.
choose it as a stepping stone. I don't choose it, so it's just about, so my point was put the book together. You can't help everyone. You can't, some people maybe couldn't afford the services, which I heard. And it's like a book, it's a $10 book or whatever it is now, I don't know, but put it all out. And that way it frees up the brain space, you can
Right.
use your brain for things. Because it was in my head, I really wanted to get something out that would help people. And so yeah, for music creators. But the great part is once it was released, and it's a bestseller, but the minute it was released and people read it, for me, it was such a blessing because people that were not in the music industry at all, CEOs from different industries are like, oh my gosh, giving me great feedback about things they've learned and that it's helpful. So for me, that was a big win because it wasn't intended. Um,
Right.
so
Yeah.
from, just a blessing in so many ways because it's helping people, just showing them how to set up a business from scratch if you wish, and not from scratch if you don't wish,
Right.
but just proving that it's possible, because I just like to refute nonsense.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. There is a different way for everyone. Nothing is necessarily 100% true, but just showing here's another perspective. I live, breathe, testify, literally there's more to
Yeah.
write.
Yeah.
There's a series to write on that book, and there's more to write now. I'm in this position of what I fought for and gave up everything for,
Right.
showing that, look, if I could do it in the way I did it, well, that's another day, another conversation, you and I. But the point is, anything is possible. And if you can do it from zero, like I have done, and even
Yeah.
with this law firm,
Yeah.
the sky is not the limit. Heaven is, right?
Right. Right.
There are no limits.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. And what a great way to wrap this up. I mean, no matter where we've come from, if we have God, if we know that we're his daughter, we can literally do anything. The only thing that stops us is us
It's us. It's
and our
human.
mindset.
The human mindset. And
Yeah.
yeah, all things are possible through God who strengthens me. Like it's just don't forget that part. And all things are possible, yes, but how? Through God, it strengthens me. That's my philosophy anyway. And it's just like so far so good. You know,
Yes.
been blessed
Yes.
enough to be able to say it's true. Like I can testify to that. So
Right. Yeah.
so I'm very grateful to God for that. I have to give thanks because without him, I'm nothing. So
Right. Right. Right.
glory be.
Oh my gosh, so good. So good. Well, it has been awesome talking to you today. I know our conversation is going to bless so many women and just get them inspired to go chase after those crazy God inspired dreams because we can do it. We can do
We
it.
can.
We
We
can.
can. We
Yeah.
can. We have. It's just now making it a reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have faith, and
Yeah.
truly not faith in the thing. So I don't want to start preaching, but it's not faith
Right.
in the thing, which is something that's knocked me back a few times because I've been humbled by God too. Not faith in the thing, faith in God that he will help you through it and help you
Yes.
do it.
Yes.
Don't worship the idol, don't worship the thing, worship the God that makes the thing happen.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And don't worship
So
him for the
good.
thing, just worship God because he is God.
That is
If
so
that
good.
makes sense. Yeah.
So good. Yes, it absolutely does. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate it. And congratulations. Thank you very much. I want to just
Thank
say
you. Thank you.
congratulations.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you. I'm so, thank you for asking me on here. And I know that you're going to bless. Your book will bless and has blessed and will bless
Yeah.
many. And what an amazing thing, so.
Thank you. And see, this is why I love hanging out with you. Y'all need to get some strong, beautiful, confident women of God around you because they will lift you up and encourage you. And that's what I'm here to do for you too, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Really,
You got,
yeah. So
yeah.
thank you, Tina.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me on my Purpose After Domestic Violence podcast. I hope today's conversation resonated with you. And if you think it could encourage someone you know, please share it. Together we can spread the light of healing and purpose. I would so appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and leave me a review. These small actions would bless me indeed and help other women find this podcast and be encouraged too. Remember, you are not alone. Your strength is undeniable, and your journey is worth celebrating. If you have questions, thoughts, or topics you'd like me to explore in the future, please reach out on social media or you can visit my website at purposeafterdv.com. Before we part ways, always remember, you are a strong, beautiful, confident woman of God, and your purpose is shining brightly within you. Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and keep moving forward on your journey to a life filled with purpose.